Corla. Taoiseach, this weekend Pride will take place in Dublin under the theme of We Are Family. An apt one considering how far we have come as a country with the passing of the marriage referendum, and the first country in the world to do so by popular vote. Although it can seem like Ireland is becoming a fully inclusive and open society, if we look closer, there remain systemic inequalities, particularly for the LGBTQI community. This is because, after 3 years since the passing of the Marriage Equality, Sections 2, 3 and crucially Section 9 of the Child and Family Relationship Act still have not been commenced, despite promises and commitments from the Government to do so. And no later than last week when the Taoiseach himself promised that they would be done before the end of the Dáil term. The Child and Family Relationship Act was to provide vital legal recognition and rights for same-sex couples with children, but has fallen short due to the lack of commencement of those sections. It is astonishing that today same-sex couples are still unable to register the name of their partner or spouse on their child's birth certificate, which can have a huge impact on parental rights. As a result of this Government's inaction, hundreds of families are being left in very vulnerable situations, as well as their children, while parents are not granted full parental rights. Many are unable to obtain passports for their children or are left in limbo without the same rights or protections afforded to other families. When will this Government fully recognise the diverse range of families that exists in Ireland and protect them equally in this country? I welcome the Minister for Health's recent announcement to bring in legislation seeking to commence Section 2 and 3 of the Child and Family Relationships Act. However, the Government is falling short yet again by not also commencing Section 9. Section 9 is required alongside Section 2 and 3 as it deals with the registration of birth amendments of the Civil Registration Act. It will allow for Sections 2 and 3 to facilitate retrospective declaration of parentage. In order to register the birth of the donor or child, Section 9 will need to be enacted as well. So, Taoiseach, my questions are: when will the amendment bill progress through the House as a matter of urgency, and do you envisage that this will be done before the recess? And also, will Section 9 be enacted alongside Sections 2 and 3, and will you provide a timeline for this to happen?
Thank you, Deputy Pringle. Taoiseach.
Yeah, first of all, Deputy, I know Dublin Pride is happening this weekend, and in this weather I expect it will be a great celebration as well as a great party, full of colour and with lots and lots of families. Every year the Pride parades, whether it's in Dublin or Cork or elsewhere, involves more family involvement, more children, and I think that is to be welcomed and supported. In relation to the specifics, though, of the questions that you raise around legal official recognition of same-sex parent families, I don't think there should be any doubt in anybody's mind of the commitment of the Taoiseach or this Government to this issue. And I think that Minister Harris has confirmed that he wants to commence Sections 2 and 3 as soon as he can. I have to say that I'm not familiar with each individual section that you've outlined, 2, 3 and 9, but I'll come back to you with a more detailed answer. But I can assure you that this Government is looking to bring certainty legally to this issue as soon as we can. But we obviously have to go through the appropriate procedures to make sure that legislation is introduced properly. But it is a priority. The kind of social reform that we've seen happen in Ireland over the last 5 years is something that we intend on continuing on and providing legal certainty around. And that goes for this issue like many other issues.
Taoiseach, that is the point, that there's not enough just to do the headline issues. These are the basics that need to happen for them to have real meaning. You know, and it is right. You're right. There will be many families this weekend at Pride and celebrating for Pride, but it will be empty unless they can actually see that these actions will take place, which is as a mundane part of actually the recognition for them. And you say in relation to Section 9, perhaps you could ask the Minister for Social Protection in relation to Section 9, because it's our department that will actually enact it. Will that happen along with Sections 2 and 3? Because that is vital that they all happen together, because Sections 2 and 3 happen on their own won't do enough to actually deal with the issues that same-sex couples require, and that's what's vitally important. So for this to mean more than just a celebration, we have to see it actually happen in practice, and that's what I would be asking that you would make sure that would happen.
Thank you, Deputy Taoiseach.
Yeah, no, and they're fair questions, Deputy, and I will come back to you with a detailed answer on them, because I don't want to give you a sort of an off-the-cuff response to a detailed section of a broader piece of amending legislation. But what I would say very directly to people who are listening outside of this House, that if you are a same-sex couple and you are looking forward to having your family unit recognised fully and properly in law, then that legislation is on the way, and we will follow through on the expectations that you have and the promises that have been made. In relation to the detailed sections of the bill, I'd like to come back with a fully informed response to you on that, rather than giving you a half-baked answer here now on the hoof. But to, as I say, to the many people who are listening to the response to this question, any timelines that have delayed the implementation and the commencement of elements of this legislation are not because there is a policy problem with government here. Quite the opposite, in fact. It's very clear. It's because we need to get this legally right, and we need to be able to implement it in a timely manner.
Thank you, Taoiseach. That